grateful. There was a time period where I thought about giving up. Professor Jerry Peterson is the reason that I'm here and the reason that I'm graduating. And I just want to shout out to him and say thank you. It's because of educators like you that this world still has hope.
I would like to thank my parents for always seeing my full potential. I would like to thank my family for loving me even though I was crazy the past few years. And I would like to thank my husband. And lastly, I'd like to thank the TV show Friends for making me laugh even though I wanted to cry.
I just want to say thank you to my parents who have just been so supportive of my time here and getting an education. And then as well as so many of my professors, specifically Dr. Jones and Dr. Spencer and Dr. Postler. You guys have really inspired me to keep going even when it's been really hard, and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So thank you so much, and go Wolverines.
Here we are. Yeah. It's the game time. It's the right time. Come on, y'all. Stand up, let's go. It's the last dance. You know you better show. Stand up, let's go. Meet your maker. Record breaker, trophy taker. Stand up, let's go. It's the last dance. You know you better show. Stand up, let's go. Meet your maker. Record breaker, trophy taker.
I just want to say thank you to all of my friends and family. I also want to thank my gym family as well as my family from the Mentor Program and the Center for Social Impact. And I want to give a big thank you to all of the faculty and staff that have taken the time to mentor me.
I just want to thank all my family and friends for pushing me all these years, even when it really did get hard and I couldn't pass by this opportunity. Need to thank my mom and dad and my brothers and sisters and my best friends for getting me here.
I want to thank my friends, my family that have supported me through this whole process of me going back to school. I want to thank the staff of UVU. Special thanks to Dr. Russ Bailey, Tage Bigby that helped me, find my career in applying to CMHC programs. And I really want to thank everyone in the psychology department for helping me find my path.
I just want to say thank you to my fiance, Derek, for always supporting me and chasing my dreams, and to my kids for being so patient while I've been going through school and studying so hard, and to my parents for always supporting me.
Just want to say a quick thank you to all of Student Affairs, especially Michelle Kearns, Melinda Bird, and their whole SALT team, as well as President Timinez and all of her staff, especially Tirsa Burke, Dawn Gross, and Kara Schneck, and all of my other interns. Love you guys.
Welcome aboard UVU Convocation. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and administration, we're thrilled to have you with us as we celebrate our UVU graduates. Please keep your eyes on the screen for a few helpful reminders to ensure your time at Convocation goes smoothly. To make certain every graduate has their moment in the spotlight, we kindly ask that even if your graduate has crossed the stage, you stay seated until the ceremony is complete. Think of it like the fasten seatbelt sign. Stay buckled in until we've fully landed.
We encourage you to cheer loud and proud when your graduate's name is called. Remember, every graduate deserves their moment, so let's keep the applause fun and respectful for all.
Today, each graduate will receive an empty diploma cover. Don't be alarmed, this doesn't mean your graduate has missed a step. Their official diplomas will be mailed within the next 3 to 6 weeks. If one doesn't arrive, you might want to double check with the registrar's office. They're happy to help.
Now, for your convenience, the bathrooms are located on the second floor, the same floor that you entered on. At the end of the ceremony, remember, you'll be following the graduates through the south exit of the building. You entered through the north, but for today, our south exit is open to ensure everyone's arrival and departure is seamless.
On behalf of Utah Valley University, thank you for joining us today. It's been our pleasure to celebrate your graduates with you. Congratulations, and thank you for flying with UVU.
Friends and family, please stand to honor Utah Valley University's class of 2025.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Clark, Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. It's my privilege to welcome you to our convocation. Please be seated. Today we gather to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of the graduating class of 2025. We are excited to have our graduates here, and we're grateful for everyone in the audience for attending. Your support means a great deal to our students. Our first order of business is to recognize our platform guests. Jim Mortensen, Vice President, Finance and Auxiliary Services, Michelle Kearns, Vice President, Student Affairs, Janet Colvin, Associate Dean for Faculty Success, Deb Merritt, Associate Dean for Student Success, Candida Johnson, Assistant Dean, Jay Desart, Department Chair of History and Political Science, Brian Eldridge, Department Chair of Languages and Cultures, Pierre Lamarche, Department Chair of Philosophy and Humanities, Acacia Overono, Department Chair of Psychology and Counseling. I would also like to recognize the faculty and staff of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Please stand. Thank you for the work you've done to teach, mentor, and support the students of the 2025 graduating class. Your efforts and your focus on student success and exceptional care have helped these students get to where they are today. It's my pleasure to introduce Nick Varney, our alumni speaker. Nick Varney is a graduate of UVU's History Education program. He has a master's degree in education policy from the University of Pennsylvania's Graduate School of Education and is currently a PhD student in education leadership and policy at Texas Tech University. He has been a program scholar with the National Governors Association, a Stanford University Innovation Fellow, and an Oxford Map the System Global Challenge finalist. Professionally, he has been a public school teacher, a nonprofit program director, and an education consultant. He currently works for the Utah Office of the Legislative Auditor General, where he conducts performance evaluations on education and executive agencies. Nick.
My first job after graduating from UVU was being a history teacher at Cedar Valley High School. Throughout those years, while teaching hundreds of class periods and working with about 1,300 students, it became clear to me that students wanted to experience the following three things when they were in the classroom. First, they wanted to discover the hidden talents and passions inside of them they didn't know they had. Second, they wanted to develop their hidden talents and passions. And third, they wanted to learn how to use their talents and passions to make the world a better place. Throughout my time teaching, I saw that when students experienced those three elements, they tended to describe their time in the classroom as meaningful. For example, here's a comment a student shared with me after going through one of my classes. Quote, "I reached deeper levels of myself that I didn't know I had. And it changed my level of understanding, not just about me and my classmates, but about the world around me." That student's comment, "I reached deeper levels of myself that I didn't know I had," has stuck with me. And since my time at Cedar Valley, I've developed an appreciation for just how deep our potential really is. I've never met someone who's fully developed their entire potential. We as people really do have an infinite capacity to learn new skills, develop more powerful paradigms, and improve our moral characters. If we are unable to readily identify what our talents are, it's not because we don't have any. It's because we simply haven't found them yet. And if we want to find them, we'll likely have to spend time in new environments, tackling new challenges, and engaging in a lot of honest self-reflection. Lucky for us, the ever-changing nature of the world in which we live gives us constant opportunities to be in new and unexpected environments. If our lives are about to take us to a different school, a different job, or a different situation than we had planned, then we should embrace it. Too often, we get trapped pining after the unrealized dreams we created for ourselves. True strength comes from wrestling with the reality in front of us. Dreams are often just mirages produced by our vanity, and it would be a shame if we fixed our view on those mirages instead of moving forward with our lives. The most successful and impactful people I know embrace the curveballs of life with curiosity instead of closed-mindedness. They have a deep and abiding sense of self-esteem, which allows them to openly examine who they are, prune away their flaws, and nourish the emerging talents they desperately want to grow. Choosing to tackle head-on each new set of problems life presents us with has a transformative effect on who we are. And that self-transformation is usually a prerequisite to having the impact we want to have in our jobs, in our communities, and in our families. So, as you begin to tackle the next set of problems you'll face post-graduation, please remember the words of my student. I reached deeper levels of myself that I didn't know I had. We all have deeper levels of who we are that we don't yet know about. If we don't get distracted by what we think our life should be, and instead embrace what it actually is, we will undergo a personal evolution that'll empower us to create the impact we want to see in our lives and in the world around us. So that's my challenge to you. Whatever your circumstance, reframe setbacks as opportunities to discover and develop the hidden potential inside of you. Because if you do, and if you use your ever-growing potential to make the world a better place, chances are you'll have a very meaningful life.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. My name is Dr. Deborah Merritt. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Success in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. It is my honor right now to acknowledge our outstanding graduates of the year. Students, as I read your name, if you would stand so that we can recognize you. Outstanding graduate for History and Political Science, Sarah Samadeni. Outstanding graduate for Languages and Culture, Brittany Bunker. Outstanding graduate for Philosophy and Humanities, Advait Koduru. Outstanding graduate for Psychology and Counseling, Ellie Ortiz. It is also my honor to introduce to you our salutatorian. Due to the high number of exceptional students in our college, this year the College of Humanities and Social Sciences has chosen 2 students to address us, a valedictorian who addressed the 11 o'clock session and a salutatorian who will address us here today. The term salutatorian comes from the Latin word salutor, which means greeter or one who greets, and is often the first speaker to address a graduating class. This prestigious honor recognizes not only academic excellence demonstrated by maintaining a 4.0 GPA, completing a minimum of 90 hours at UVU and earning a bachelor's degree in a chess discipline, but also recognizes a student's leadership abilities, character, and service to the college and the greater community. It's an honor to introduce to you the 2025 salutatorian for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, J.C. Lynn Smith. I'm going to tell you a little bit about J.C. Lynn before she speaks to us. She's from Logan, Utah, a graduate of Mountain Crest High School. She has earned her Bachelor's of Science in Psychology with minors in Cognitive Neuroscience and Family Science. As a non-traditional student, J.C. Lynn has shown incredible resilience and adaptability throughout her academic journey. With guidance and mentorship from her professors and advisors, she has successfully navigated new learning environments and technologies, all while balancing the demands of her personal life. She shares that this individualized support and connection with faculty has been one of her favorite aspects of her time at UVU. Along the way, she's gained not just academic knowledge, but also critical life skills like time management and self-discipline. Looking ahead, J.C. Lynn is exploring the exciting possibility of law school or pursuing a PhD in psychology or neuroscience. Whatever path she chooses, there's no doubt she will continue to make a lasting impact. Please join me in congratulating J.C. Lynn Smith.
Thank you, Deb. Faculty and staff, parents and family members, friends and fellow graduates, as salutatorian for the class of 2025, it is my pleasure to give my warm welcome to you at this convocation ceremony for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences here at Utah Valley University. It is only by the collective effort of all in attendance today and those who couldn't be that we find ourselves here celebrating this notable milestone together. The path to this milestone didn't begin on our first day of classes here at this campus. In fact, it began before any formal classroom was stepped into. For me, it began with two individuals, Jay Claire and Bonnie Lynn, my parents, who did not receive university degrees, but who nonetheless initiated my love for learning, my hunger to understand, to pay attention, and to care. Thanks to my adventurous husband, Cole, my path has also included 5 remarkable children and 8 relocation moves for 2 federal agencies and commercial tech, from the West Coast to the East Coast, and even the scorching hot desert of the Middle East. Each transition has profoundly shaped how I learn, how I listen, and how I appreciate deeply the intricacies of the human experience. In many ways, this kind of immersive human education lies at the very heart of what the humanities and social sciences are all about, which is learning to understand lives different from our own, with curiosity, with respect, and with an honest willingness to be changed ourselves. Now, we are not machines, nor are we meant to function as them. My fellow classmates, throughout your semesters here, you may have experienced, as I did, great uncertainty, test anxiety, mental blocks, changing your major, consequences of overcommitment, health diagnoses, surgeries, massive time juggling, reviewing course material and taking exams at odd times and places like volleyball tournaments and soccer tournaments, gymnastic meets, and even airports. Or maybe even while physically caring for a close family member through a terminal illness and then grieving their death. It has been my experience the last 4 years that life doesn't pause for intentional learning, so learning should never pause in life. The disciplines found within this college have invited us to explore what it means to be human and connect with one another, to see the world in its heterogeneity, to battle ethics and contradictions, to understand behavioral and societal order, to reflect deeply on human stories, and to engage the world with both intellect and empathy. And what UVU has given us through formal education is not only the structure, the language, and the framework to make sense of both our formal and informal education, but the tools to interpret culture, the training to think both critically and compassionately, and the vocabulary to confidently express and cultivate meaningful dialogue, to participate in the conversations that will shape our society wherever we may land. The insights we carry forward are layered on the efforts of those who came before, founders of the fields, professors, parents, mentors, and even those without degrees who have shaped how we learn. We stand on their shoulders. And as we now transition into new opportunities, we carry with us not only the knowledge they passed on, but the responsibility to question it and to explore it deeper, to add to it, and to expand it for those who will follow. In this way, learning certainly does not end with a diploma. Developing into a lifelong learner is one way to ensure that we each become a more intentional and thoughtful version of ourselves. And in doing so, we not only honor the diploma we've earned, we give it its genuine meaning. So, may we carry forward the knowledge we've gained as a tool with which to serve, to build, and to understand. Congratulations, fellow classmates, class of 2025.
Thank you, J.C. Lynn. You've done an excellent job describing the value of a humanities and social sciences degree. We wish you the best as you pursue what's next for you in your life. We'll now proceed with the presentation of graduates.
Brittany Sarah Bunker.
I read the name, the school.
Malachi Hopoate. Florencia Padlock.
Lindsay Eagle Webb, Associate in Science. Amber Bryant, Bachelor of Science. Okay, okay, I will.
Lauren Walsh, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Katrina Broom, Bachelor of Science.
Cicely Bybee, Associate of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Kathy Spinell, Bachelor of Science.
Grace Peterson, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Ellie Ortiz, Bachelor of Science.
Haley Adams, Associate of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Autumn Everett, Bachelor of Science.
Judith Gandarilla, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Alexander Adam Anderson, Bachelor of Science.
Brinley Jensen, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Kendall Barner, Bachelor of Science.
Lillian Alyssa Gibson.
Gary Reese Williams, Bachelor of Science.
Davis Spangler.
Ian Ludwig, Bachelor of Science.
Emma McClellan, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Lauren Hatch, Bachelor of Science.
Autumn Carlson, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
James Norris, Bachelor of Science.
Catherine Elizabeth Stone, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
James Pemberton, Bachelor of Arts.
Tyler Bradford, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Oakley Ewan, Bachelor of Science.
Natisha Holly Beathers, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Carson Dobbs, Bachelor of Science.
Gideon Argyle, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Joshua Murdoch, Bachelor of Science.
Michaela Argyle, Bachelor of Arts, ASL in Deaf Studies Education.
Chris Barlow, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Eliana Divich, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Give that to me.
Lindsay Ann Duffy, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Stephanie Matter, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Audrey Jane Sechrist, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Rain Evans, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ella Bailey, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Abigail Martin, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Holly Phillips, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Jaiseline Smith, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lydia Horn, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Acacia Balev, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jocelyn Smoot, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Mackenzie Cohen, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Malia Maynard, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Eugenia Luan, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Emma Rogers, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Ashley Vaz, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ana Lucia Morales Bach, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Ashley Iona Peralta Servin, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Hunter Sterling Pryor, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Jordan Wilson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Maddie Powell, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Brinley Thornburg, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Camille Walrath, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Abby Bullock, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Audrey Davis, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Eureka Smith, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kaylee Valdez, Bachelor of Science, Political
Skylar
Science.
Kingsbury, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Madeline Hanson, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Jody Johansson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Scarlett Hodge, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Aspen Beers, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Casey Colt Christensen, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Kayleen Robt, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sophie Swainston, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Emily Contessa, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lee Gilchrist, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies Education.
Shay Moore, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Adam Smith, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Rebecca Peterson, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Alexia Ricker, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies Education.
Brecken Spencer, Bachelor of Art, Psychology.
John Laycock, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies Education.
Kevin Pack, Bachelor of Science, Psychology. Next one.
Nicholas Ogun, Bachelor of Science, History and Social
Michelle
Studies
Nielsen,
Education.
Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Zach Johnson, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Eden Brown, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
James Hughey, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Matheson Spencer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Maxwell Hofheinz, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Rachel Gordon, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Mark Stephen Magnuson, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Sarah Levitt, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Thomas Monson, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Tanya Weskinskow, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kelton Truscott, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Addison Taylor, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ethan Peterson, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Narina Red, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Parker Luke, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Natalie Linhart, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Chance Simons, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Jonte Osler, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Meili Afoa, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Kylie Jade, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michael Knudsen, Bachelor of Science, Human Resource Management.
Elisa Marie Seiler, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Samantha Knudsen, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Jinzi Jager, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jason Ballard, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Brianna Klinger, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Margaret Wright, Bachelor of Science, History.
Rebecca De Silva, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Cesar Placencia, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Mitchell Hedrick, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Max College, Bachelor of Science, Political Science. Addison Stott, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Noah Densley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Stephanie Camara Manuel, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Cooper Grin, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Audrey Forsgren, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
Mary Hoskison, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Carson Kester, Bachelor of Science, Political Science.
James Bronson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jameson Walker, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Shonda Ewell, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michaela Castle, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Alexa Preet, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Andrew Lopez, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies.
Catherine Zolazano, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Abigail Williams, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies Education.
Elijah Shogren, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Olivia Johnson, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Kennedy Dunn, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Whitney Browning, Bachelor of Science, History and Social Studies Education.
Jennifer Brighton Conrad, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brett Wagstaff, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Victoria Regis, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Hannah Beecher, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Jackson Aronson, Associate of Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Rosa Caballero, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Brooklyn Hawes, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Maya Hughes, Bachelor of Arts, History.
Allison Vincent, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sean Velasquez, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Derek Boyer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Victoria Roberts, Bachelor of Arts, Political Science.
Emily Noel Williams, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Advait Kodiru, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy, Bachelor of Science, Mathematics, summa cum laude.
Kevin Robert Stevens, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Casey Mag, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Nicholas Kraus, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Samantha Victoria McKay, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Shay Goddard, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Bristol Van Austell, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Science.
Mariah Heyer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kayla Sia, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Seth Olson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology and Sociology.
Erica McCamey, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Sarah Candelaria, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ashley Beezer, Bachelor of Science, PR and Strategic Communication.
Caden Welty, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Hugo Moreno, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Elizabeth Padilla, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ethan Montano, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Connor Hoang, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lizzie Jensen, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Anthony Ritchie, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Gabrielle Fankhauser, Bachelor of Arts, Philosophy.
Camille Brunner, Bachelor of Science in Psychology.
Elena Sapp, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Gloria Valentine Jackson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sawyer Avery Sink, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Abigail Maria Stark, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kelsey Parker, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Logan Huffines, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sage Maya Lambert, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Christina Peterson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Gabriela Romero, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Isabel Hickson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jenna Henderson, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Sierra Lindquist, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Claudia Lisbeth Penrod, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Caitlin Burke, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Alicia Marquez, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Olivia Anderson Fogg, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Alexandra Zurita, Associate in Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Jordan Ritchie, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brianne Matheson Bardsley, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Andrew Gibson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Janessa Panati, Bachelor of Arts, Integrated Studies.
Heidi Peterson, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Risa Nelson, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Caroline Sarabia Pacheco, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Nathan Jones, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Kenzie Carter, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Edward Ratcliffe Anderson, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Derek Anderson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Caitlin Adams, Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Zola Zeppi, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Anna Marie Hill, Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Jack Hayes Johnson, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Marshall Drummond, Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Francis Everett, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Safrain Walker, Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Hannah Linnea Atwood, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Haley Peary, Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Robert Benjamin Simpkins, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michael Rawlings, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Colin King, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ashley Peed, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Brooklyn Bassett, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Asher Belanger, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Lacey Lee, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Hayden Robert Thomas, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Logan Ball, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Keisha Barton, Associate in Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Eileen Amaya, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Catherine Stedman, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Tyler McDougall, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lorena Orozco, Bachelor of Arts, Spanish.
Erin Platt Estrada, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Emily Hancock, Bachelor of Arts, Integrated Studies.
Savannah Adams, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Whitney Boyle, Associate in Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Isaac Fraser, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Marilyn Norell, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Kaylee Gruber, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Saul Leonard Beecher, Bachelor of Science, Philosophy.
Lee Sue Wright, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Rebecca Kuntz, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Amelia Cook, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Autumn Lily Harari, Bachelor of Arts, Philosophy.
Brooklyn Fordham, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Rachel Rodriguez, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Allison Haas, Integrated Studies, Information System.
DeMarge Boyd, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Daniel DeHart, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Camille Diana Dickey, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Julia Toomey, Master of Science, Clinical Mental Health Counselor.
Carolina Chavez Altamirano, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Mary Stacy Giller Delva, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Mahaley Hansen, Bachelor of Science, Integrated Studies.
Diorana Illy, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lillian Nunes, Bachelor of Arts, Integrated Studies, Certificate of German Proficiency.
Bree Kilton, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Christina Rapier Ellingson, Associate of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Jaden Spencer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Iris Walker, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Ethan Robertson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Danica Whipple, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Brittany Nielsen, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Etoni Maasi Crowfoot Wolfgram, Bachelor of Science, Anthropology.
Aspen Larson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Maria Peraza, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Paula Beatriz Rivers Salazar, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
McKinley Shoup, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Savika Kamu, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sydney Hillstrom, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Alvin Oskan Gilderim, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Chloe Thompson, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Atlas Jurg, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Zach Burrows, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Morgan Shamway, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Angela Garombe, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Simona Margarine Hendricks, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Science.
Brevin White, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Julia Amanda Facer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lachlan Rose, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Larson Clark, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jacqueline Davis Swenson.
Rachel Aldred, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ellie Springfield, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Gay Kamangoni, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brunel Smith, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Isaac Williams, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Isabella Whedon, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Eamon Wadley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Adelie Ross, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Isel Jimenez, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brittany Vanderpool, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Corinne McCain Galley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brandon Kleinman, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Katie Pia, Bachelor of Psychology, cum laude.
Agnieszka Lubowska, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
McKenna Thornton, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michaela Gustafson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kira Five, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Angelique Mann Penn, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Casey Salgado, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Catherine Baxter Stone, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Logan Nira, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ashley Ludwig, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jared Benuelos, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Leslie Guadalupe Cruz Villalpando, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Next.
Jesse
Anna Whitmore, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Jesse Navarrete, Associate of Science, Psychology.
Caden Mortensen, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Natalie Eva Klinger, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Deaf Studies.
Genevieve Coburn, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Elizabeth Marie Silva, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Echo Clayton, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ethan Todd Wilson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Cameron Maquinalas, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Sierra Barnes, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Elisa Boyer Moreno, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Marguerite Prince, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Faith Amos, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Grace Garn, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Seth Johnson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Rosemary Lithgow, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michaela Hess, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Samantha Palmer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Gracie Hess, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brooklyn Freshneck, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Megan Harris, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jessica Andrea Zavala, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Cameron Panzer, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Adeline Toneely, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Parker Ellison, Exercise Science and Outdoor Recreation Management, cum laude.
Elizabeth Wood, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jacob Christensen, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Tasha Seppi, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Bella Roberts, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lee Sego, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Bailey Brophy, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michelle Morales, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Arlene Aduria Hendricks, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Morgan Loomis, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Willow Webb, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sarah Swenson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lauren Levitt, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Daniel McPherson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Nathan Oler, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brandon Moreno, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brinkley Mason, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Liam Green, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Brock Bulkley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
April Dabb, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Justin Freeman, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kaylin Hardy, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jackson Keeler, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Haley Isom, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Benton Anderson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ollie Mason, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Truman Gunther, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Elizabeth Hovenden, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Cheyenne Hebert, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jake Gillens, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kyle Floyd, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Amanda Dubois, Associate of Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Danielle Black, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Rachel Fisk, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Lily Lind, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Noah Weatherford, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Catherine Schmidt, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jessica Baker, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Elizabeth Motis, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Susana Rodriguez Patino, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Remington Lindley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Evan Kettler, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Rachel Hansen, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michelle Pientka, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Marin Kimber, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michaela Pittman, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Dayton Underwood, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Haley K. Stanton, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sydney Ellen Morrill, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Zainab Hussein, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Anika Tabayayong Ramos, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Emma Rich Bogus, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Alberto Perez, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology.
Kathleen Windmiller, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Haley Edmondson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kaylee Baca, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Elizabeth Hoops, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Isaac Seal, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Valentina Serrando Thebris, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Morgan Davis, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Marissa Atkinson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sydney Rodriguez, cum laude, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Katie Pagel, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Catherine Fogel, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sophie Reynolds, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Parker Reedy, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Genoa Lafort, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Jack Martson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sarah Daly, Associate in Science, Humanities and Social Sciences.
Amy Minga, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Callie Priest, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Aubrey Ann Richards, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Audrey Bullock, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Carly Jean Garside, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Alexandra Salas, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Hunter S. Shuro, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Kara Pinkston, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Melissa Zavala Lopez, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Sarah Arbab, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Adam Ron Arnett, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Faith Weber, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ambry Cordero, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Grace Patterson, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Spencer Nixon, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Ariana Nelson, Associate in Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Lucero Aragon, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Michaela Barlow, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
And Rebecca Cabrera Calata, Associate in Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences.
Angela Sofia Barida, Bachelor of Science, Psychology. Zachary Staley, Bachelor of Science, Psychology. Omar Mendoza, Bachelor of Science, Psychology. Annette Cabrera Perez, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology. Amanda Jordan, Bachelor of Science, Psychology.
Congratulations one more time to the class of 2025. A little louder. That was good. At the conclusion of my remarks, the graduating class will begin the recessional. I'd like the audience to remain at their seats until the graduates have left the floor. Today is a significant milestone in your life. You're now graduates of Utah Valley University. And as graduates of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, you've completed your chosen area of study, and you've acquired valuable skills that you can use to further your education, your profession, and your life. Our college mission statement refers to these as rigorous intellectual skills that prepare students for success in work and life. They include critical thinking, problem solving, written and oral communication, and ethical reasoning. You may know exactly what you're going to do next, or you may have no idea what you're going to do next, or you may be somewhere in between. Regardless of where you fall on this continuum, I want you to think about the knowledge and the skills that you have developed and be confident that they can take you places. We live in a time when people frequently change jobs and entire industries seem to appear overnight. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, today's students may have between 10 and 14 jobs by the time they are 38. Think about that. But change isn't something new. When William Shakespeare was born, there were no professional theaters in London. He likely attended grammar school between the ages of 7 and 14, and his studies would have been focused on classical subjects, especially Latin. He was not trained in school to be a poet or a playwright, but William Shakespeare excelled in a career that did not exist when he was born and for which he had no specific training. It reminds me of a quote by David Kearns, former CEO of Xerox and the first United States Deputy Secretary of Education. He said, "In periods of change, narrow specialization condemns us to inflexibility, precisely what we do not want. We need the flexible intellectual tools to be problem solvers, to be able to continue learning over time." Remember that success does not come easy. It requires hard work and dedication. But know that because of your education at UVU, you have the foundation needed for the challenges that lie ahead. There will be times when the answers don't come easy and the solutions are not obvious. But remember that Wolverines have grit. Celebrate your successes and hang in there when times get tough. I want you to remember that education is not a product or a diploma or an event that ends today. It's an ongoing process in which people are transformed by the knowledge and skills they obtain across their entire lives. So, take the rest of the day off. Bask in your accomplishments. And tomorrow, continue your education. Moving on from UVU, but with the recognition that UVU has prepared you with a solid foundation and that your learning should never cease. And with that, congratulations to the class of 2025.